Have you ever tried talking to God and felt like nothing happened? Felt like your words hit the ceiling and came right back down, like the sky had gone silent? Then, before I answer that question, let me tell you what might be happening while everything seems so still, because on the outside, no one notices, but inside, you've thought about giving up more than once. You pray, you ask, you cry out, and when nothing changes, the doubt shows up. Does God still hear me? And that question, even when asked in silence, feels heavy because it hurts to think that the one you trust isn't listening anymore. But what if what you're calling silence is actually construction, right? What if right now, even though you don't feel anything, God is putting everything in place? You keep praying even when you're out of strength. You keep seeking even when you don't understand, and that matters in heaven much more than you think. But I need to remind you of something you may have forgotten in the middle of all this pain. God never stopped listening to you. But He's never limited Himself to answering in the way you expected. Your prayer wasn't ignored. It just hasn't come back yet with the answer you wanted. And do you know why? Because He's not going to give you just anything. He's going to give you what will truly transform your story. You're here, listening to this message. It's not by accident. Maybe God chose this exact moment to respond to your most private question. So stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to say might change how you pray from now on. You think you're alone, but you're not. You think God is silent, but He's preparing the exact moment to act. God's timing isn't like ours, and when He decides to move, He can do in minutes what you've been waiting on for years, maybe. He's protecting you from something you can't see yet, or strengthening you for what's about to come. And what if everything you're feeling right now is actually the sign that the promise is close? I know there are days when you pray only with your eyes, other days when you can't even speak anymore, and you think, is this still worth it? But listen to this. The most powerful prayer isn't the prettiest, it's the most honest. And you've been honest. You've been giving all you have, and God sees that. There are tears that speak louder than words. There are silences that say more than screams, and there are nights when you thought you were alone, but God was sitting beside you, just listening to you breathe. He heard you when you said you couldn't take it anymore. He saw you keep going even when you wanted to stop. And that's why He's going to honor you, not because you're perfect, but because you chose to trust Him in the dark. And God moves when someone chooses to trust in the dark. If this word is reaching you, take this moment, subscribe to the channel. Maybe this is how God wants to keep speaking to you on the days when everything feels quiet. And when you finish listening to this, write in the comments how your heart is doing. What you're feeling today may seem confusing, but it's way too important to keep locked inside. There are others feeling the same. And your comment might be the healing someone else needs. And there's someone you love who's also wondering if God still hears. Share this video with them sometimes. That's how heaven begins to answer, through an unexpected word. At the moment it's most needed, you haven't been forgotten. You haven't been ignored. You've been heard. And you're being cared for. It may not make sense right now, but when everything comes together, you'll remember this word, and you'll understand that He never stopped listening to you. He was just preparing the best way to respond, and when the answer comes, it will make you thankful, even for the days when it seemed like nothing was happening. You're not alone. You're not lost. You're just being shaped by a love that's not in a rush and that knows you better than you know yourself. Keep praying. Even without the will, keep seeking. Even without the answer, because heaven doesn't close its ears to someone who cries out in truth. God still hears you, and He will respond at the right time in His way. And it will be greater than anything you expected.